So you're thinking about nanoengineering, huh? That means you're ready to think small, like really small, working with matter at the atomic level.
That's right. We're talking about manipulating the building blocks of the universe.
It's a field with mind-blowing potential, and today we're diving into RoleCatcher's career guide for aspiring nanoengineers.
It's a fantastic resource, full of insights into this exciting career path.
Now, when someone says nanoengineering, people often think about shrinking things down, like making tiny robots.
Yeah, that's a common misconception.
So what does a nanoengineer actually do?
Well, it's not just about making things smaller. It's about understanding and manipulating matter at its most fundamental level. We're talking about engineering at the nanoscale, unlocking properties and possibilities that we never thought possible.
Okay, so it's more about harnessing the power of those teeny tiny particles to create entirely new materials and technologies.
Exactly. For example, the guide talks about using nanoparticles to make solar panels way more efficient.
Oh yeah, I read about that. Can you elaborate on how that actually works?
Sure, imagine taking a solar panel and manipulating its surface at the nanoscale to capture more sunlight. You can create nanostructures that increase the surface area for light absorption, or even control the way light interacts with the material.
Wow, so you're basically engineering those surfaces to be super efficient at capturing energy from the sun.
Exactly. More energy captured means higher efficiency for the solar panel.
That's incredible. And the guide also mentioned a lot about applications in medicine. What are some of the ways nanoengineering is changing healthcare?
Oh, wow. The possibilities in medicine are pretty much endless. One really promising area is targeted drug delivery. Imagine using nanoparticles to deliver medication directly to specific cells in the body.
That's amazing. So instead of chemotherapy that affects the whole body, you could have these tiny nanoparticles delivering medication directly to cancerous cells, minimizing side effects, right?
Exactly. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Nanoengineers are also working on things like nanosensors for early disease detection, creating bone-like materials for implants, and even developing new antimicrobial surfaces to prevent infections.
It sounds like nanoengineers are on the front lines of medical breakthroughs, but what does the day-to-day work of a nanoengineer actually look like? I mean, what kind of environments do they typically work in?
Well, that's one of the things that makes it such a dynamic field. You might find yourself in a research lab at a university, developing new nanomaterials and testing their properties.
So it's not all lab coats and beakers then?
Not at all. You could be in a high-tech manufacturing facility, overseeing the production of nanoscale devices, or even working in fields like consulting, where you'd advise companies on how to incorporate nanotechnology into their products or processes.
It sounds like there's a lot of variety in terms of career paths.
Definitely. It's a field with tons of options.
That's really cool, but I know it's not all, you know, building the future atom by atom. The guide did mention some challenges that aspiring nanoengineers should be prepared for, right?
Right. It's important to be realistic. It is a highly competitive field, and it requires some serious dedication.
So what are we talking about here? What are some of the hurdles someone might encounter on their path to becoming a nanoengineer?
Well, for starters, you'll need a strong educational foundation. A master's degree or PhD is often the norm. And because nanotechnology is always evolving, continuous learning is essential.
So you need to be comfortable with always being on the cutting edge, constantly learning new things, and pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Absolutely. And that's what makes it so exciting. You're constantly exploring uncharted territory, solving complex problems, and shaping the future of technology.
It's a demanding path, but the rewards are potentially huge.
Absolutely. The work you do in this field could have a real impact on the world, from addressing climate change to improving global health.
Speaking of getting ahead, the guide mentioned that RoleCatcher can give you a leg up in your nanoengineering career. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that works?
Sure. You know how most job boards are just a big list of open positions?
Yeah, you scroll through pages and pages of job titles, hoping something jumps out at you.
Well, RoleCatcher is different. It goes beyond that, providing tools and resources specifically designed to help you succeed in the field of nanoengineering.
So it's more than just a job board.
Way more. It's designed to help you understand the specific skills that are in high demand for nanoengineering roles. Then it helps you highlight those skills on your CV and in interviews.
Oh, wow. So they help you tailor your application to the specific requirements of the nanoengineering job market?
Exactly. They even have this thing they call their AI-powered secret weapon.
Okay, now you've got to tell me more about this secret weapon. What's that all about?
It's not a secret weapon like, something out of a spy movie.
Right, no lasers or anything.
No, nothing like that. But it can feel like a superpower. Basically, RoleCatcher's AI analyzes thousands of job descriptions related to nanoengineering, and it figures out exactly what skills and keywords employers are looking for.
So it's like having a superpowered research assistant combing through job postings for you, picking out the most important information.
That's a great way to put it. But it goes beyond just identifying keywords. The AI actually compares those desired skills to your profile, and then it highlights any gaps in your experience or skill set.
That is so helpful. Instead of just guessing what employers want, you get actual data-driven insights into your career goals.
Yeah, exactly. And it really takes the guesswork out of the application process, so you can focus on developing the skills you need to stand out.
So you're not wasting time applying for jobs that aren't a good fit, and you're making sure you have the right skills to land your dream job.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you've found the perfect nanoengineering job and you're getting ready for the interview. The RoleCatcher guide also mentions they provide sample interview questions, all tailored to the field.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I read about that. So these aren't your typical generic interview questions, right? What are some examples of the kinds of questions they provide?
Well, they're designed to make you think like a nanoengineer.
Hmm.
They want to see how you apply what you know in real-world situations. For example, one question is, describe a time you had to solve a complex problem involving nanomaterials. What approach did you take?
I see. So it's not just about reciting facts from a textbook. They want to understand your thought process and problem-solving skills.
Yes, exactly. And another one is, how do you stay up to date on the latest advancements in nanotechnology? That one shows the interviewer that you're passionate about the field and committed to continuous learning.
It's those subtle things that can really make you memorable in a sea of applicants.
Absolutely. And the best part is, with RoleCatcher, you're not just getting the questions, you're also getting feedback on your answers.
Right, the AI feedback tool. Tell me more about how that works. It's like having a personal interview coach in your pocket, right?
That's a great way to describe it. You record yourself answering practice interview questions, and the AI analyzes your responses. It looks at things like clarity, conciseness, and even your use of technical language.
Wow, so it helps you refine your answers and delivery, making sure you're presenting yourself in the best possible light.
Exactly. It's all about going into that interview feeling confident and prepared, ready to show them what you know.
It sounds incredibly helpful. Okay, so RoleCatcher can help with nailing the interview, but even with the best tools and resources, having that strong educational foundation is still key, right? The guide highlighted some crucial knowledge areas for aspiring nanoengineers. What are some of those must-have skills?
Well, as you can imagine, a solid background in STEM is absolutely essential. We're talking physics, chemistry, material science. You need to really understand how atoms and molecules work.
It makes sense since you're working with matter on such a tiny scale.
You got it. And you can't just memorize formulas. You need to understand the principles and be able to apply those to real-world situations. You need to think critically and creatively about manipulating matter at the nanoscale.
So it's about having that strong theoretical foundation, but also being able to think outside the box, right?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Now, on top of the hard sciences, those soft skills are just as important.
Right, because you can be brilliant in the lab, but if you can't communicate your ideas or work effectively on a team, it'll be tough to succeed.
Exactly. The guide emphasizes the importance of teamwork and communication skills. Nanoengineering projects often involve collaborating with people from all kinds of backgrounds, so being able to get your ideas across clearly is essential.
And then there's the whole precision thing. I imagine that's super important when you're working with things at such a small scale. Oh, absolutely. A tiny mistake at the nanoscale can have huge consequences, so attention to detail is non-negotiable. You need to follow procedures precisely, analyze data rigorously, and be super careful in everything you do.
So we're talking about a combination of scientific knowledge, creative problem-solving skills,
Yeah.
being a team player, and having meticulous attention to detail. That's quite the combination.
It definitely is. And it's not just about what you learn in school. Practical experience is just as important.
Right. The guide emphasized that hands-on experience is key. Things like internships, research opportunities, anything to get some real-world experience in nanotechnology, right?
Yes. Employers want to see that you can apply what you know in a real lab or work environment.
So acing your physics exam is one thing, but actually building a nanoscale device is another. Exactly. And those experiences often give you a chance to work with mentors and network with people in the field.
It's all about making those connections and building relationships.
Precisely. And those can be invaluable, especially in a competitive field like nanoengineering.
So we've talked about skills, education, the importance of hands-on experience. It's clear that becoming a successful nanoengineer requires serious dedication and hard work. But what I'm really curious about is what's it like to actually work in this field, day to day?
It's incredibly exciting, I'll tell you that. You're working with cutting-edge technology, collaborating with some of the brightest minds out there, and potentially making a real impact on the world.
It's about pushing boundaries and creating the future. It's about more than just a job. It's about being part of something much bigger than yourself. It does sound incredibly rewarding to be working on something so groundbreaking. But with things moving so fast in nanotech, how do you even keep up with it all? Like, how do you stay on top of all the latest advancements?
That's a great question. It's a field that's constantly evolving, so staying current is super important. One thing the RoleCatcher guide emphasizes is the value of connecting with professional organizations.
Oh, right. Like those groups mentioned earlier, the American Nano Society, the Nanoscience and Technology Institute, things like that.
Exactly. Those organizations are hubs for all the latest research and breakthroughs and job opportunities, too.
So you're plugged into those conversations, right? Hearing about the latest discoveries straight from the source.
Absolutely. And a lot of these groups offer student memberships or early career resources, which is fantastic when you're just starting out.
That's great. So you're not just reading about it in a textbook, you're at conferences, you're networking, maybe even presenting your own work down the line.
Exactly. And that firsthand experience, that's invaluable, not just for your career, but for your own growth as a nanoengineer.
It's one thing to read about a new nanomaterial, but it's a whole other level to discuss its potential applications with the people who actually created it.
Oh, absolutely. Those kinds of conversations spark new ideas, new collaborations, even new career paths you might never have imagined.
It's all connected. Well, it's clear that nanoengineering has mind-blowing potential, not just for tech, but for making a real difference in the world. But it's also a field that demands a lot. You need that technical expertise, obviously, but also creativity and that drive to push the limits of what's possible.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's a challenging path for sure, but for those who are ready to dive in, it's incredibly rewarding.
And for anyone listening who's ready to take that leap, it sounds like RoleCatcher is a fantastic resource. They provide the tools you need to navigate this world, from identifying the skills you need to build your CV to rocking that interview.
They do a fantastic job of breaking it down and making it all seem a little less daunting.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. We talked about the amazing things happening in nanoengineering, the importance of hands-on experience and connecting with the right people, and the challenges and rewards that come with this career path.
It's been a great conversation.
Thanks so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure picking your brain about the incredible world of nanoengineering. And who knows, maybe someday soon we'll be back here doing a deep dive into your groundbreaking work in the field.
I'd love that.
To everyone listening, keep exploring, keep asking questions, keep pushing those boundaries. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive into a cutting-edge field.